You are about to see the history of a truly remarkable place. It is the story of an extraordinary institution built by the dreams and hard work of equally extraordinary people. Like many of the individuals who made this organization what it is today, Kettering Medical Center Network grew from once humble beginnings to achieve unprecedented success. Today, we're an organization that inspires great pride. Our mission of faith-based care has since the beginning been central to our philosophy. As I have watched Kettering grow and now become stronger, I have often looked at Galatians 2:20 as my guiding light and inspiration. The life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. Christ's passion can be witnessed in the skills and talents of the remarkable people who work at this great institution, and by the goodness they have brought to this community. You'll soon see how this has guided our growth, fueled our passion for quality, and ensured our success for many years to come. I am extremely proud to be associated with the Kettering Medical Center Network and its rich history of caring. I hope, after watching this program, you will be also.
Throughout its history, Kettering Medical Center Network has made a remarkable impact on its community. It's a history shaped by people, the doctors, nurses, and employees who, through the decades, have dedicated their lives to helping others. And yet, to truly understand what this network is like today, you first have to look back, long before the first brick was laid, to see how it all began, with the dreams of some very extraordinary people. Back to 1866, when the Adventist Church opened its first hospital in Battle Creek, Michigan. It was here that the proud tradition of Seventh-day Adventist healthcare began. The care at Battle Creek was founded on the belief that a wholesome lifestyle contributes to good health and enhances a person's mental and spiritual potential. Just after the turn of the century, far to the south in Dayton, Ohio, 3 young students began discussing plans to open a hospital of their own, one that would be founded on the growing osteopathic tradition of healthcare. Doctors Heber Dill, William Gravitt, and Frank Delatush chose a house on West 2nd Street and named it the Dayton Osteopathic Hospital. The doors officially opened to patients in 1926, becoming one of Ohio's first osteopathic hospitals. Though it had only 10 beds, the founders knew it had the makings of something extraordinary. At about the same time, just across town, events of a somewhat different kind were unfolding. In a tall meadow where Kettering Hospital stands today, young Charles Franklin Kettering once stood, pondering what made the grass there so green. As was often the case, his curiosity drove him to find the answers. The self-proclaimed screwdriver and pliers scientist spent most of his life grappling with tough questions and tinkering with inventions. That backyard tinkering eventually led to a list of inventions and discoveries that would fill volumes. At the time of his death, Boss Katz, as he was affectionately known, was second only to Thomas Edison in the number of patents held. But Kettering's spirit of scientific inquiry, particularly his fascination with medical technology, would live on. His son, Eugene Kettering, and Eugene's wife, Virginia, dreamed of building a hospital as a living memorial to Kettering's lifetime of work and achievement. The dream began as the answer to a prayer. Polio was ravaging the country, striking its youngest victims the hardest. Unpredictable, unforgiving, it attacked with a cruel randomness, creating a wave of panic that swept across the nation. Eugene and Virginia Kettering worked at the Seventh-day Adventist Hospital in the Chicago suburb of Hinsdale. Here, 53 cases of infantile paralysis were reported within a 3-week period. The shock of the epidemic hit close to home. One of the first victims was the child of a Kettering family employee. Eugene and Virginia became deeply involved in the Hinsdale Hospital, helping fund a special polio unit. Both also worked on the nursing unit, and Mrs. Kettering organized a group of volunteers to help overworked medical staff care for the children. Back in Ohio, the Dayton Osteopathic Hospital was outgrowing its modest home. In the early 1940s, a major fundraising project was launched to build a new hospital nearby, on vacant land on Grand Avenue. Orville Wright, who saw an osteopathic physician for relief of back pain from an early airplane crash, donated $500 to the building fund. In those days, that was a substantial amount. In 1947, the Dayton Osteopathic Hospital moved into its new home on Grand Avenue and was renamed Grandview Hospital. Like Grandview, which was founded on the philosophy of osteopathic healthcare, the Hinsdale Hospital, where Eugene and Virginia worked, was founded on the Seventh-day Adventist mission of healthcare. During their years at Hinsdale, the Ketterings witnessed healthcare that was remarkably different from anything they'd seen before. Its founders were Seventh-day Adventist pioneers David and Mary Paulson. In opening the Hinsdale Hospital, the Paulsons pledged to provide patients with fresh air, sunshine, suitable exercise, pure water, a wholesome diet, a beautiful outlook, and a mind at peace with God and man. Here was an organization that served its community in harmony with Christ's healing ministry, incorporating Christian values at every level of service. When the dream took hold to create a new community-based hospital in Ohio to honor the life of Charles Kettering, Eugene and Virginia knew it must be founded on this philosophy of care. The Seventh-day Adventist Church was the obvious choice to oversee and operate the soon-to-be-built hospital. The groundswell of support for their plan from the community and business leaders was tremendous. Nearly $2 million was pledged to help build the new hospital, and additional funds poured in from major donors. With financial backing firmly in place, the facility was still no more than a spot in that field where Boss Cat once pondered green grass. Now, leadership was needed to get the project off the ground. George Nelson, a successful hospital administrator from California, was chosen to manage the new facility. He took over the reins of the project with confidence and a bold new vision.
Our mission was to establish and provide healing and comfort for the sick and injured in a comfortable, attractive situation, and where possible, to guide people toward a sound philosophy of life and a system of living that would prolong life and restore and maintain health.
On July 7, 1961, ground was finally broken on what would become a remarkable healthcare institution. Nelson recruited physicians and employees from all over the country. They came inspired by the Kettering mission and thrilled to be a part of this pioneering venture. After 2.5 years of design and construction, Kettering Memorial Hospital was officially dedicated on February 14, 1964. More than 22,000 people toured the new facility during its first open house. As Kettering opened its doors to the community, across town at Grandview, construction was underway once again after more than a decade of growth and expansion. In 1952, an 80-bed addition had been built, and in 1958, a $750,000 maternity wing was added. That same year, a new division of nuclear medicine was established under the watchful eye of Dr. J. Milton Zimmerman. It was the first major isotope lab in an osteopathic hospital. In 1962, another expansion, this time a 64-bed addition. Then in 1970, a major $5.5 million expansion and remodeling program was completed. Like Grandview, the years since opening had been good for Kettering Hospital. In fact, by the late 1960s, the original hospital might have been hard to recognize. Construction had added a new pulmonary intensive care unit, then a new ER, outpatient area, mental health facility, and a much-needed parking garage were added. Original plans called for a school to be built on the hospital grounds. Finally, in 1967, the Kettering College of Medical Arts opened as a junior college offering 2-year associate degrees. It was the first program of its kind offered by an Adventist institution. Kettering College soon became known as a leading training ground for medical professionals. Through the years, the popularity and growth of the college has been unprecedented. Today, over 700 students are enrolled, and bachelor's degrees are offered in nursing and health professions. Generous philanthropic gifts by Oscar Boonshoft and others are resulting in a much-needed expansion. The Boonshoft Center for Medical Sciences includes new computer and science labs, a student union, and a learning resource center. Years of growth and development allowed both Kettering and Grandview hospitals to better respond to the community's needs. When the need for medical care increased in the south suburbs, Kettering opened Sycamore Hospital in 1978. The full-service facility boasted an emergency department, X-ray service, a clinical lab, surgery, cardiac rehab, and outpatient services. Grandview also recognized the need for care south of town. As Sycamore opened to serve the southwest suburbs, Grandview launched a $12.5 million project to create the Ambulatory Care Center to serve the needs of those in the southeast suburbs. 4 years later, Grandview broke ground on 2 ambitious expansion projects. The first was a 56-bed inpatient addition to the care center, which was renamed Southview Hospital and Family Health Center. Next, a major expansion project at Grandview added a new emergency room, surgery suites, outpatient clinic, and intensive and critical care areas. Then in 1993, Grandview opened Huber Health Center, a much-needed urgent care center for communities to the north of Dayton. Perhaps no greater event affected the community's access to care more than what happened in the late 1990s. The healthcare climate had become increasingly competitive. Demands from insurance companies and mounting financial pressures had made the prospect of hospital mergers attractive. Administrators at both Grandview and Kettering began to ask, what if we combine the strengths of both organizations? It proved to be a match made in heaven.
Two local hospitals are combining their resources, Kettering Medical Center and Grandview Hospital merging.
In late June 1999, the merger was complete. The two hospital systems joined together, creating the Kettering Medical Center Network. At the time of the merger, some questioned whether Grandview's osteopathic heritage would mesh well with Kettering's Adventist philosophy. Grandview's osteopathic mission and Kettering's Adventist mission proved to be more than similar. They were astoundingly compatible. The real strength of the union became clear not long after ink on the merger agreement had dried. Another Dayton area hospital, Franciscan, hadn't weathered the economic woes of the 90s well. In 2000, it closed its doors forever. The announcement was a shock to the community, but to none more so than the 13,000-plus indigent and disadvantaged patients who were left stranded without health care from Franciscan's Hopeland Clinic. Grandview Hospital answered the call for help. With only 3 days' notice, it assumed full responsibility of the clinic and its residency program. Grandview quickly rehabbed some older, closed sections of their campus for Hopeland psychiatric patients most in need. Then, in the summer of 2003, after months of working with business and community leaders, state and local governments, and community organizations, Grandview opened the Victor J. Cassano Senior Health Center to serve patients in the community. Grandview, indeed the entire KMC network, opened its arms to many of Franciscan's displaced workers who had skills far too valuable for the greater Dayton area to lose. The response to Franciscan's closing symbolized the unity of the Kettering Medical Center Network. The compatibility of the osteopathic and Adventist philosophies is unmistakable. Both strive to compassionately care for the whole person and to improve the life of people in the greater Dayton area. Children in need, Every society has them, but few organizations have the resources, the expertise, the commitment, and the deep-rooted sense of compassion to care for children with functional and behavioral problems. At Kettering Hospital Youth Services, young people with these disorders have a safe and healing place to go, and parents can find a helping hand caring for their children who suffer from devastating, heartbreaking illnesses like depression, schizophrenia, drug dependency, and other mental illnesses. Kettering Hospital Youth Services provides acute, residential, and partial hospital care, a wide range of services by highly trained advanced practice nurses, physicians, and fellows from Wright State University. Surprisingly, this is the only Montgomery County organization to offer this full line of services, the only place these children can go. Why offer these services? Because it's in keeping with the mission of Kettering Medical Center Network to offer Christian-based, compassionate care to all those in need, especially to the community's most vulnerable members. Today, the combined geographic coverage of the Kettering Medical Center Network is unparalleled in the region. In addition to 5 major hospitals, the network includes key satellite facilities like the Englewood Health Center, the Kettering Breast Evaluation Centers, the Charles H. Huber Health Center, the Preble County Medical Center, and the Sycamore Glen Retirement Facilities. Truly, wherever you live in the greater Dayton area, you're never far from the KMC network. The beginning of the 21st century brought a showering of clinical quality awards and other honors to the network. The network's history is literally filled with milestones and with memories. The Kettering Medical Center Network has become an integral part of generations of people in the community. Today, Kettering Medical Center's mission of community care is as clear as it was decades ago, still firmly rooted in the vision of the Kettering family and the compassionate healthcare beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And Grandview's heritage lives on through employees, physicians, and volunteers who bring the knowledge to heal and the compassion to care to every task they do. They are men and women dedicated to promoting the proud tradition and philosophy of osteopathic healthcare. Today, KMC Network is the fastest growing healthcare provider in the Dayton area, and with more than 6,800 employees, it's the 3rd largest employer.
The history of Kettering Medical Center Network is truly a remarkable one. The enthusiasm of the founders and early pioneers at both Kettering and Grandview hospitals, their dreams and ideals are nothing short of inspiring. They came from different walks of life, with different philosophies and traditions. Yet the combination of heritages has led to something very special. I am proud to say that the passion and spirit of those who came before us live on in the dedication, talent, and skill of the outstanding staff at Kettering Medical Center Network.
It is a great privilege to be part of such an outstanding organization. We continuously invest back into our facilities to improve access to our services, and we push the technology envelope as our namesake, Charles F. Kettering, so often did. Most importantly, we are continuing to fulfill our mission. We are dedicated, each and every one of us, to conveying God's love in a caring environment. And our efforts are making a significant difference in the quality of life in all of the communities we serve. We are all deeply grateful for being a part of this essential mission.
I believe that if you want to do a thing and want to do it bad enough and hard enough and willing enough to work for it, that thing will happen.